Singer-songwriter Josh Harty is fresh off his European tour, and he's about to start a tour here in the States. He's got a new CD out called Nowhere, and he's here with us on Our Kind of Music. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Good, good. So how long were you over across the pond there?
5 weeks.
5 weeks?
5 weeks.
Where'd you hit?
England, Scotland, Ireland, and the Netherlands.
Great. How was the reception? Did they like your stuff?
I think so. We had a fantastic time, and the people were incredibly responsive. It was, it was my first time really doing any kind of a wide scale thing over there. I'd been to Ireland once before, but this time was more playing. We did everything from small Irish pubs up to small theaters. In the ballpark of 100+ people. Great.
So where are you hitting on your tour here at home then?
This one here will be I've got a quick trip down to Oklahoma and Missouri coming up this weekend, and then after that to the Northwest, and then Montana and Idaho, Colorado.
Great. You're hitting Oregon too?
Yep, the whole from Salem up to Vancouver, BC.
Oh, well, just as a tip, on your way to Salem, see if you can land something in Eugene. They've got some really cool venues there that a lot of acts passing through, like coming from Northern California up into Oregon, or up, even if they're going through to Seattle, they'll stop off at Eugene, and just get a side view.
Is that Sam Bond's garage?
Yeah, that's a great place. Great place.
What do you hear? I'm trying.
What's that?
We're trying to get there, so hope the routing will bring us by.
You'll like it there. It actually is an old garage that was converted into a bar. I mean, an old garage. I mean, but it's a cool building, a real cool venue. And shit, Eugene's a cool town. It's got a great vibe to it. It's it's a college town, and if you get that, you'll love it. Anyway, I got off track, but before we get on to your CD, I got to ask you something. Now, I read in your bio that your dad was a preacher and the sheriff. I mean, talk about damned if you do and damned if you do. I mean, how did you stay out of trouble?
Yeah, well, he actually wasn't the sheriff. He was the chief of police in our town.
Close enough. But
still, many nights of the week, we had the sheriff's deputies hanging out having coffee in our living rooms. But yeah, it's an interesting way to grow up. You're not really sure if you're going to jail or going to hell for anything. But worked out in the end. And the nice thing was, like all the confiscated beer I never went.
Yeah. Well, hey, your new CD, now, is this your third or fourth release? Third. Okay, because I was listening to your other ones on Spotify. I was giving those great stuff, but there's some tracks on Nowhere that I just loved. I was wondering if you could just tell us a little bit about where these songs, where they came from, and are there any stories behind it? They're Whiskey and Morphine, the opening track. I mean, just the feel of that. I mean, you can taste the smoke in the air and smell the stale beer. I mean, it's got a great feel to it. Where's that story come from?
Well, that one, that was the first co-write that I ever did. I wrote that with a good buddy named Jeremiah Nelson, and we both have spent a lot of time on the road. And probably, just had an interesting way along the way. He comes from a very conservative background, as did I. Well, I shouldn't say he came from a conservative background, but a very religious background, and we both after leaving high school, both found ourselves, in bar rooms doing exactly the things that our parents had told us not to. So it's kind of an interesting mind game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that a lot of it was actually a self-representation, but more so things that we've seen along the way.
Well, there's a lot of that type of feel on this one. I got that. The first time I listened through Sweet Solution, I had to go back and listen to it again because I thought he's not talking about something sweet here. This is about mistakes and dealing with the mistakes, but you had that one line in there that, who am I going to blame it on this time, or something like that. And now the Sweet Solution, did I hear that right? Contemplation of suicide?
Yeah, that actually comes from a very good friend of mine. We'll hope he doesn't stumble across this interview. But yeah, that was my interpretation of what he was doing. It was, at the time, it was absolutely crushing just to watch it go on, and it was such a repetitive cycle, and like you see that. I've done it myself many times. It's like, when you get into that situation when your life dips below a certain line, it's like everything just becomes cyclical at that point.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over and over, and every time, when you hear somebody talk about the same thing over and over and over, the only difference is who the bad guy is. It's never him. It's always somebody else. But yet it was the same problem.
Never their fault.
Never their fault. It's like that line in Shawshank Redemption and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When they ask guilty, and I'm like, no, man, everybody in here is innocent.
Right.
It's kind of like that. Life is like that, and nobody's going to admit they're wrong.
Yeah, like I said, the whole, well, not all the tracks, but with Sweet Solution, it's like the message that's in there doesn't so much coincide with the arrangement and the orchestration. Well, I shouldn't say orchestration, but the arrangement of it has a lighter feel to it. But when you're listening to the lyrics, there's a dark message there. And
yeah,
excellent song.
Thank you.
Another one that caught my ear was Nowhere. And you had a line in there, got to find my way back across the bridges that I burned. And some more regret in there, and looking back, and where did that one come from?
I think that's of that packet of songs. I think that's the only one that came kind of from me. That was it was kind of an old song. I actually wrote that. Well, not old. That one I wrote that song in the desert in Utah.
Oh, really?
I was on a cross country trip. I was driving from St. Louis to Seattle, and it was one of those last minute pseudo vacation kind of like just it's time to leave town kind of trips, and I just took off and drove, and kind of clear the head sort of.
Yeah.
And that one came from about 5 a.m. in the middle of Utah.
Yeah. Now, are these songs that you've recently written, or are these ones you're pulling out of your bag that you did maybe a while back and just?
That was the only one. That was the only old one. The other ones, but they were all kind of they all kind of seemed to come together with the same sort of pulse and the same sort of vibe.
And the band you've got together on there sounds great. It's a couple of the tracks really, well, more than a couple of the tracks stand out. But the way the arrangement with the bass and violin on My Mind just gives it that haunting feel to it, and you can feel the longing. I assume that's another On the Road song.
It was
Missing Home.
Yep, that was early in the morning in the middle of South Dakota in a blizzard.
So what else are you going to do but sit down and write a song?
Yeah, yeah. Wait for the sun to come up, you know.
So now was that? Did you have a gig in South Dakota at that time? Or?
No, my parents lived there.
Oh, okay. So I was going to say, if you had a gig, you know, you really got to talk to your booking agent about that. You know, don't book South Dakota in the middle of winter.
It's bad. It's bad routing, man.
Now, is that where you're originally from? Is South Dakota?
No, I actually grew up in North Dakota. I grew up in Fargo.
Oh, okay.
And then my parents decided to move south where it was warmer.
So you're in Wisconsin.
Yeah, now I'm in Wisconsin.
Okay.
But my parents relocated to South Dakota when I was 15. That's where they grew up. And then here about 9 years ago, I moved to Wisconsin.
I mean, that's not a whole hell of a lot further south to go from North Dakota to South Dakota just to get warmer. You know, that's not going to happen. The last song on there, 1952, Vincent Black Lightning, when the vocals first open up on that, sounds very Springsteen-ish.
Ah, cool.
But then it's like that was the first impression. But then the biggest difference is I could understand every word you were saying as opposed to Springsteen, where sometimes it's hard to figure it out. You have to give his stuff 10 listens through. But now that was recorded. What was the name of the bar that was recorded?
It's a small, almost outdoor venue here in Wisconsin called Shitty Barn.
I'll have to Google that.
Yeah, it's man, you'd be amazed the acts that they get through there. It's every week on a Wednesday in a town of about 500 or so.
Really?
And, man, they get
acts from other places?
Oh yeah, all over the country.
Is that right? And it's a small town, 500 people, huh?
Yeah, the venue probably holds about 100 and 120 maybe. And
so damn near the whole town shows up.
Yeah, pretty much. Not much going on elsewhere in that town. So.
Well, and for live recording, I mean, it came out sounding great. You know.
Yeah.
Have you played there before? Played there a few times, or?
Yeah, many times. That time we recorded that, I played there a few times that year, and it's when they were just getting going, and it's a great thing.
Cool. Well, is there anything that any of the tracks that you wanted to play?
I'll play any of them. Hell, you know, I'll play that almost last tune on there. Let's play "On My Mind."
On My Mind, yeah.
All right, here we go. Wind's blowing cold, as far as I know, back where I'd rather be. But on the highway tonight, it's been no 1 mile, just those shining eyes still from inside. You're on my mind. Well, I was thinking about that time, stayed up all night. You were telling stories, I was telling lies, trying not to show that I wanted you to know for such a long time. You're on my mind. Been 1,000 miles and a few more days, just a small price to pay. Everything will be alright. Try to realize what I know inside that I'm on your mind. Now the miles seem so long, choices all seem wrong. You know, I wonder, have I done? Just remember what I said. No matter where I am, you know you're always, you're on my mind. Within 1,000 miles and a few more days, it's a small price to pay, and everything will be alright. And try to realize what I know inside, that I'm on your mind. You're on my mind. Oh no.
Great, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, that sounded great.
Thanks.
Best of luck to you on the tour of the States. You know,
Hey, thank you.
I hope it all goes well. I mean, man, the songs you've got to share. I mean, the people are in for a treat. I mean, they're really in for a treat.
I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us. And we'll talk to you next time. All right? Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.